Welcome to the world of f1.7 anamorphic. So we're shooting right now with the Panasonic LA7200 on a GH2, 24 frames per second with a 20mm Pancake lens. It's opened all the way up to f1.7, and the nice thing about this lens is that it's very sharp wide open. So we're taking that sharpness and somehow we're getting a sharp close-up picture with the LA7200. So how is this possible? Well, like in the other LA7200 tutorials, right now I have a diopter on the front of the LA7200. Now in my last video where I talked about using this lens with the LA7200, I said that it didn't really work with a pea-sized Koken filter, which is about 77mm in diameter. So what I did is I modified the filter in order to tape it closer to the actual anamorphic lens, and that works. And I have two brackets that mount the LA7200 to the 20mm lens. They're both metal adapters, which is very important. You don't want plastic, especially when you're holding up a heavy anamorphic lens on a little tiny pancake lens like the 20mm. Now I've seen other people that have come up with mounting solutions, and those do look good, but it adds to the weight and the size of the camera, which might not work in some situations. So right now the way that we have it is probably best for most people. When shooting wide open landscapes with this lens, you're going to see a couple of things that happen with the LA7200. At first, at the very extreme edges of the frame, you'll get a little bit of CA, which is chromatic aberration, the red and blue kind of split, and you get a little bit of a faint, lighter contrast and sometimes a little bit less sharpness. Now to mitigate the CA, there's a very simple, you can use other tools, but I use Magic Bullet Looks, and you can actually dial out that chromatic aberration. Anywhere from plus 0.100 to plus 0.3100 on the red, green. Well, I'll show on the screen the settings that I use to knock out the CA. Once you knock out the CA, it actually looks pretty good, and I'll actually have some better samples up soon of shooting some different scenes with this lens and the anamorphic. Now you can also use that if you use the crop mode. Now, the crop mode changes the lens to about a 52mm lens in 1080p, and the results look equally as good. I'll show you now. So this is crop mode 1080p LA7200 with a 20mm Pancake open at f1.7. It's very sharp. It's much sharper actually than even the Nikon 50mm 1.8. Now that we're gone from that Leone-esque close-up, you can see how useful just this single lens can be with a GH2. It's like having two prime lenses with you at all times in a very tiny compact package. And since it opens up to f1.7, it's pretty limitless in the situations that you can put it into in terms of lighting and low light. And in the future we'll have hopefully some films with this lens and some other samples that we can show of how this lens combination works with this camera and how good it can possibly look.